Welcome, guys. Oh yeah, I should probably put this on autoplay. Uh, Turn off game capture. Okay, so this is a video by Mount Saibo. Uh, just basically talking about why Megalodon was not in this like aquatic DLC. For the first part, at least, uh, he mentions that it could possibly be in a future Cenozoic pack, which I see is very possible. For the simple fact that we see, I don't know, hold on, let me try to formulate it in a more constructive way or understandable way. They added Nothosaurus, which is a Camp Cretaceous animal, but I already ranted several times about Camp Cretaceous DLC and all that sort of discussion topics. Um, so, of course, we get Nothosaurus, and it's very possible in a Cenozoic we get the Smilodon as well as Megalodon and all some other Cenozoic creatures, and I see that's very possible. Don't I don't think necessarily that it's Cenozoic, so it's probably not going to be in. It's only Mesozoic and older. I don't see that as currently any value. It's like, oh, crazy, man. That's not an actual opinion. It's kind of weak sauce. It's a non-opinion. It has no real value, other than I really love to hear some talking points about it. But other than that, I think we could possibly see fragmented additions from Camp Cretaceous and other future installment DLCs. So of course we got another Saurus coming up, but we might see in a Cenozoic pack, of course, Smilodon, obviously, and maybe in the future we see I don't know, Tarbosaurus, for example. Um, the hybrid is a little Spinoceratops is going to be it, it's going to be very slim. Um, we do have 3 remaining DLC slots to last time I checked, so that gives us Cenozoic. I'm gonna throw a name out there: Cretaceous pack. I don't know, mid Cretaceous or uh, Cretaceous Asia, something like that. And the third one being, I don't know, hybrid pack, but I feel like that's going to be a lot of hit or miss with the community. Um, but that's somewhat likely. I could probably see it just being added just for like, fuck it. I mean, it's already here. Might as well throw it in there. So it might be just a throw in for, I don't know, a Cretaceous pack or something. So I don't know, if, like as a parody for Chinese knockoff dinosaur species. Who knows? Uh, but yeah, let's continue watching this video. I'll try to be more constructive when watching this video. I don't want to rip this video entirely. Since I learned how to at people when it comes to making videos about them, like with Popular with the Terraria gameplay, I'll try to add him in the title, at this creator in the title, and give so you guys give him support. Possibly leave feedback in the comment section of what you think might be coming. Yeah, let's continue.
As we've also seen in the marine species pack, we received the Nothosaurus. I used to believe that we would be getting a second Camp Cretaceous DLC that would include the missing species from Camp Cretaceous.
Wait, is this the same guy that I responded to like not too long ago? That's nuts. I didn't realize before.
One of them being the Nothosaurus. But as this animal was instead a part of the marine species pack, I now believe that that idea is now thrown out the window.
I don't necessarily think it's thrown out. I think it's going to be more fragmented. Like, it's going to be scattered. The species in Camp Cretaceous are going to be scattered throughout the upcoming DLCs. So it's not necessarily out the window, but seeing like hardcore Camp Cretaceous additions being added, I could see it maybe being released like after all the DLCs came out. Like example, um, last game Jurassic World Evolution 1, we got Ceratops at the very last addition to the game before it got dead. I think. I don't think. I think Jurassic Park came before. So it's very possible we will see Microceratops as well as maybe a Spinoceratops drop. Um, I could see maybe Microceratops being added as a free edition. Um, as for Spinoceratops, I think there's going to be more added. So I don't know whether that'll be a back and forth zip line. I don't know what the fuck the trolleys in the show where it's like it's automated. I can't fucking remember it. I don't remember the attraction name. That's where they fight off uh, Dimorphodon in the show. Um, but as for like the Spinoceratops content drop, I could see it being a paid with um, biodomes being the big deal, and of course they have to be really smart with how they deal with it. I personally don't find biodomes possible because you have to wonder what would make it unique. Couldn't you just use just get a normal aviary and paint it? The only difference is you could just have hatcheries attached to the dome itself automatically. So it's gonna be a little bit of a tricky slope to go down.
But this implies something greater. This means that the missing species that we have yet to see in the game that were present in the Jurassic canon are probably going to be included in other types of DLCs. The four species that we are missing
That's
are
possible.
the Spinoceratops, Microceratops, Tarbosaurus, and most notably the Smilodon.
I think I went on a rant on his Camp Cretaceous video, but I was also considering the three other hybrids in the first Jurassic World that you see on the computer screen. Of course, I'm giving people a lot of headaches because I preach on this idea. I see it unlikely, but I would really love if they do have those remaining three hybrids and Spinoceratops being, not Spinoceratops, Jesus Christ, Spinoceratops being added, as well as a Mamenchiosaurus canon, the Lost World like variant, because the one currently in game is not representative of that one in the film, and with Dreadnoughtus being a thing, we know now they're not necessarily scared of adding long animals anymore. Super big ones. So I'm talking about the Dominion Dreadnoughtus, by the way.
The Spinoceratops is a very interesting case.
Yeah.
Before, many people were conflicted on whether this animal would be a part of a hybrid DLC or a second Camp Cretaceous DLC.
I think with the Camp Cretaceous, we could probably slap that up to it not being a dedicated DLC itself. I think. Don't get me wrong; it may be possible, but of course, Nothosaurus won't be in it. Um, it's still somewhat possible, but I see the odds of it being fragmented being a little more likely. I don't like that model, by the way. I hopefully, if it does become a thing, we get of course, the movie skins as well as maybe a little hint for a JP3 Spinosaurus skin pattern for it, just for the sake of it being cool and neato. Um, I do see Camp Cretaceous DLC being possible because I think with DLCs, it's common for it to be uh, like three species and the rest being skins. I'll just use the last Camp Cretaceous or not. I'll just use View DLC Store. I'll just never mind. I'll use Malta. So with Malta, you got a Troceraptor. Is there a list so I can just read off? So all right, so they have four species: Tarbosaurus, Smilodon, um, Tarbosaurus, Smilodon. You got Spinoceratops. There might be another one that I'm not remembering, but that gives three. Let's look at the Camp Cretaceous DLC and see if there's a different number of animals. Because technically, from what I remember, there's only like two. Yeah, there's two. There's two. So from this, we could tell that the number of creatures in packs aren't necessarily spooked of necessarily. Camp Cretaceous, we have two animals that was added. Let's go to Dominion. Uh, New dinosaurs. That gives four. 2 and 4 are the magic numbers, and I believe this one has 4 as well. All these are 4. So Camp Cretaceous is like a unique one. Um, there hasn't been any pattern of there being 3 animals added. I think. Don't hold my breath on that yet. But anyways, it's possible that we get a Camp Cretaceous. It's unlikely. It'll probably be fragmented, and if so, it might be Cenozoic DLC. Then we get a Cretaceous pack of some sort. Then a very slim chance of it being either a canon pack with movie skin and all that, or being a hybrid pack, which I would consider being a very much hit or miss with the community. I see it as possible for it to be canon because there are some animals that are not in. Segisaurus is one of them, and people don't really like it. I understand why. I propose it being, I don't know, a feathered Coelophysis, pretty much, or something like that, to make it not just a Coelophysis clone. Other than that, though, I think canon is probably the best way to go here, honestly. Because you also get the other Lost World models, like the Pteranodon or Mamenchiosaurus, as well as the hybrids that were not in. So I have no clue.
As the second Camp Cretaceous DLC is no longer on the table, I definitely do believe we'll be getting a hybrid DLC at one point. Microceratus and
It's possible. It's possible, but I won't hold my breath on it. Because it's a little hit or miss. Maybe towards the end of its life, of the game's life. Like at the third DLC little notch. Hell, maybe even after that, they'll add more slots for DLCs. But for right now, with it being 3, I could see it being the third one.
Tarbosaurs both have something in common. They came from Asia. It is really possible that we
That's true. That was my. Well, I just said moments, or I guess an hour ago, since I rant a lot. It's very possible we get Gigantoraptor. Gigantoraptor is, in my mind, one of those highly requested ones in terms of animals, because I mean, there's nothing like it. You get a omnivore, but it's fucking huge. So that'd be a huge meta change, as well as, of course, Microstratus and Tarbosaurus being the missing animals.
could be seeing an Asian DLC that could include both of these animals. It is also possible that we could be getting one of these animals for free on the second anniversary of Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Yep, they did that with Nasutoceratops. So I think Nasutoceratops has odds at being free.
The Microceratus could also fit very nicely in a novel or anniversary DLC. I'm
That's
100%
possible.
certain that those three species will be included in Jurassic World Evolution 2.
I feel like a anniversary expansion is gonna be. I'm not gonna say like impossible, because we do have, I guess, the novel skins from in the first game that were obviously scrapped in the second game. So it's not something to rule out. But I feel like the odds of it being having an anniversary expansion is gonna be a little slimmer. But then again, it could go back to me saying a canon DLC. So hit or miss.
DLC. I'm 100% certain that those three species will be included in Jurassic World Evolution 2's lifetime at some point. But now let's move on to the most notable species, the Smilodon. The Smilodon is a
That's Spinoceratops, by the way.
very interesting case. It is also a Cenozoic animal similar to the Megalodon. The Smilodon, as the second Cap Cretaceous DLC, is no longer on the table. If this animal is going to be included, there is only one option: a Cenozoic pack. This is a very controversial thing,
Yep.
and that a lot of people have been arguing about.
Yeah, in the Discord because they really don't like that. Smilodon, I guess I could see it being a little weird, a weird case, but when I look at Dimetrodon, I almost see almost the exact same. It Dimetrodon is fucking awkward in the game. He is awkward. Not in terms of like that doesn't make any sense. Why is that here? For the prime reason of the way he fights. It's so weird. It changes it up a lot. He's very slow. He's very wonky with his animations. It's just odd. So with Smilodon, I could see it being Raptor speed. Just it's a better Dimetrodon. That's the
Similar to
gist
the
of it.
Megalodon. Going to be included, there is only one option. A lot of people have been arguing
Yeah.
about, especially with this latest DLC. But here is where the Dunkleostis comes in. The Dunkleostis is a very unique species and has changed my thoughts on how I think of DLC speculation and on the DLC release schedule. The Dunkleostis is our first non reptile. Although we have seen non dinosaurs, such as the Listersaurus and Dimetrodon, reptile. Although we have seen non-dinosaurs, such as the Listersaurus and Dimetrodon, the Dunkleostis is not a reptile like every other species in the game. It is a fish. This is very notable, as many people do not want non-reptiles, yet here we are with the.
I don't think it's necessarily a reptile thing because a lot of these reptiles, in terms of dinosaurs, they are mostly on the side of birds, avians. Um, with Dunkleosteus, I would use more of the time scale rather than um, family. Like it's Devonian. That shit is old, really old. It went extinct because of a glacial event. Because I don't remember the exact term for them, but giant pillars that are basically trees. They suck a lot of carbon, making the atmosphere very cold and then killing off the wildlife. I don't remember the exact percentage of how many survived, but yeah, glacial event it caused the extinction of them. Fun fact, I guess. Um, so obviously, Frontier has shown they're not afraid of going back in time, but it's more of forward in time. And I'm not asking for, oh my god, can we get elephants next? No, I think it should stop. The newest it should get is Dodo. That should be the newest you could get in terms of animals, and you cut off after that. Megalania, that could be a cool addition, but again, and it also goes under the tag of reptile. But again, it still falls under the it being Cenozoic, so it's a little hit or miss here. So yeah, time scale. It's I think people have more problems with time scale than necessarily family they're a part of. Because people only show that they have problems with mammals themselves. Because Megalania, if we're going by the logic of, well, it's not a reptile, we can't add it, I add Megalania then. It's a reptile, and it's from the Cenozoic. Add it. So it kind of falls flat when you kind of like do these what ifs. Because then they stutter, they don't know how to respond to that. Oh, oops.
Dunkleostis. It is also our first Devonian animal.
Yep.
This further predates the current oldest species in the game, the Dimetrodon. The
Yeah.
Dunkleostis is now the oldest species in the game.
I feel like the odds of there being a Carboniferous pack is very slim, even with Dunkleosteus. Because it's basically glorified amphibians and bugs. And I don't see that working out with the fan base or the player base. So honestly, I could see it maybe happening once. Like, I don't know, they add Anthropleura and the rest being normal animals you would see in the Jurassic Park game.
It also goes against Frontier's word, as I don't know if you guys remember, but the first time the Megalodon was thought to have been in the game, it was during the base game speculation, when we
Yeah,
first
that's
saw the
true.
Tylosaurus's tail fin and we thought it was the Megalodon's dorsal fin. Frontier said in that thread that they would not be adding animals past marine reptiles. But lo and behold, the Dunkleosteus.
Yeah, Frontier is very indecisive. I think the point of what they're doing is they don't want to have expectations high. So it's possible that they will add, I don't know, Megalodon and other stuff like that. They don't want to keep their expectations low because as you see in the community, it's very much, oh my god, these obscure shit being added or hybrids being added. It just keeps everything kind of like manageable in a manageable state. Like for the example of you can't have flyers, you can't hatch flyers outside the aviary like deliberately. So currently you have to let them break out, but now, uh, and I suggested that they should be able to hatch them outside by default, and that was declined. That may change in the future. They want to keep expectations low, so we may see a hybrid pack in the future. That's also possible. Frontier is not very set in stone with it. More wet concrete.
Is not a marine reptile. It is also the most disconnected and distant animal from the dinosaurs that we
Yeah.
currently have, even more than Cenozoic animals if they were to be in the game.
Yeah, Cenozoic
Although
are closer to Rex than any of the other older stuff.
this animal is incredibly old, and this animal really changes my way of thinking of this game.
Mm-hmm.
If this animal is able to be included in the game, I see no reason why we can't have Cenozoic animals in the game. A Cenozoic DLC is possible, but
It's possible, but I think it shouldn't be the dominant. So literally a pack and that's it. Other than that, it'll just kind of become a little messy.
there is one condition that I think is holding this back: the lifespan of Jurassic World Evolution
Yep.
2. As I've previously said before, I don't believe that Jurassic World Evolution 2 will extend its lifespan into 2024. This last December DLC.
Uh, it's possible because I do not see Jurassic World Evolution 3 being a thing. They're gonna have to change it up a lot, like a lot, and that's gonna fuck up a lot of current stuff. So they're gonna have to be really clever with how they change it up. So I see it being maybe extended as possible, but not definitive.
I thought was going to be the last DLC for Jurassic World Evolution 2, but now I am very conflicted on this point.
Wait,
As I
wait, what?
last into 2024. This last December DLC I thought was going to be the last DLC for Jurassic World Evolution 2, but now I am very conflicted on this point. As I've stated before, we have 4 missing species from the game. These 4 species, I really don't think we will be able to include them all at once for this final DLC, unless we get a second Captain Cretaceous DLC, which I believe is highly unlikely.
I wouldn't say highly unlikely. It's just you have to be very cautious with what you add. There actually has to be some substance to the DLC. Uh, Creatures aren't gonna carry it. And hybrids, a hybrid pack is gonna be a little tricky, as I already mentioned. It I wouldn't say it's highly unlikely. Maybe just unlikely, or kind of like in neutral territory. It's more in limbo. Again, I feel like there's more odds at being the animals being scattered amongst the little other packs.
This is a very interesting case, and this might actually mean that Jurassic World Evolution 2 might extend its lifespan into 2024. This
It,
is not officially confirmed.
yep, it's possible. I see it as possible. There's nothing to motivate there being a third installment. I think honestly having DLCs and that's it. As possible. I'm not too familiar. Let's look at, I don't know, something like Planet Zoo. Uh, I'll just go by them because, as we know, Jurassic World is kind of very. They don't have much DLC slots, but other Frontier games may have more. All right, 16. Planet Zoo has 16 DLCs. I'm not gonna go all in the. I'm minus this one, so 15. 15 DLCs in this. Now let's go to, I don't know, Jurassic World Evolution 1, since it's complete, it's finished. 15 versus 9. I guess, never mind, 8, because, technically 1 is deluxe. 8 versus 15. So, I think there are odds of there being um, more DLCs coming, since it's kind of like there's nothing really else to do, and it seems like they're kind of comfortable in the current state. We may see a third installment, but it's gonna be slim.
I'm just putting out my thoughts on this. Because, if you guys recall, that same tweet that teased the Lagoon DLC, it did have another picture. It had the Biosyn expansion,
Okay.
Malta expansion, a
Yeah.
Mosasaurus Lagoon, which we now know did tease a Lagoon expansion, and there was a goat. Tell me, what movie did the goat appear in in the Jurassic franchise?
Jurassic Park 1 and Jurassic World.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic World, technically. Uh, so, now let's look at what is there to add from Jurassic Park 1. I could see there being maybe props, but we already got props like the skeletons, so scratch that. We already got the banner. We got the fence. I guess there could be the blue Parasaurolophus at the giant lake during the Brachiosaurus scene. I think it'd fall down to going to the Lost World. I think the Lost World would carry.
Although this could just be nothing, and that's just Frontier adding a random picture because they had to.
It's that having a random picture is probably the most likely, or more food, more bait. There was a rumor that there are going to be future food feeders, so we may see carcasses. We may see pigs, cows, deer, maybe, roughly, and so on and so forth. So I think since it's a goat on a feeder, it may be just a more feeders. I don't. But with that being an expansion itself, uh, I don't know about that one. That seems very goofy to just have. Oh my god, you get more feeders DLC, more feeders. I don't. That's gonna be really dumb. Nobody is gonna like that. So I could see that being a free DLC. I think we're chasing a goose chase here. I think it's a wild goose chase. Um, so I think that's some representative of the future in terms of free content, because technically there are free bits of the lagoon, like the viewing dome. Obviously, I'm not gonna go into specifics of that, but it's either feeders, which nobody will be open arms about, like, oh my god, yes, we wanted that kind of DLC in our game. No, I don't think people will be like clicking their heels and enjoying their time with it. So it's either the feeder, obviously not possible, or Cenozoic animals. So I don't want to say anything too concrete.
I kind of believe that we'll be getting a novel or an anniversary expansion in December, which could potentially include the Microsauratus.
People have forgotten about the Telltale game. All right, so Stegosaurus, I think there are better odds at being feathered than naked. Otherwise, it's literally just a copy and paste. Same goes for Pro Compsognathus. Um, I think a Tylosaurus variant as well as a Heratosaurus variant are possible in terms of the Telltale game. Other than that, though, yeah, I don't. It's possible that it's an anniversary, whether it's novel. Uh, and you got two animals, Hypsilophodon and Nanosaurus, basically being a reskin of Dryosaurus. So again, you're going to have them feathered or something to make them not the same. There has to be some defining factor. Otherwise, it's just Dryosaurus, but smaller or bigger. Hadrosaurus, I don't know about that one. And Mosasaurus, I guess it's possible. Honestly, we don't really have any small quadrupedal hadrosaur like animals, so I guess that will apply. And Ornitholestes, they could probably do something neat with him. Microstratus, obviously, since it was in the movie, let's not apply that to just a novel. It is technically a movie creature now. It's a hard one. I see better odds in a Telltale DLC than a novel DLC. That's my own opinion about it.
and other novel species. But if this is the case, then where do the Spinoceratops, Tarbosaurus, and Smilodon fit in? But let's say theoretically, we do receive an anniversary expansion in.
I honestly novel expansion I feel is slimmer. I feel like an anniversary or a canon DLC just to make everybody know what's being talked about here is being more likely. So you get, of course, Microceratops, all the other animals in Camp Cretaceous, um, possibly Telltale. I consider it soft canon, but we could just lump them in as variants. And you got the Lost World Pteranodon and Mamenchiasaurus as variants. So I see that more plausible than novel expansion, in my own opinion. We did get some Rex skins that were novel based, but they're just skins. We didn't get animals along with that. So,
December, and it only includes the Microceratops and leaves out the Spinoceratops, Tarbosaurus, and Smilodon. If that is the case, then I firmly believe that in 2024 we will receive a hybrid DLC and a Cenozoic DLC.
that is possible. We may see additional DLCs in the future. I see hybrids being I don't even fucking know anymore. Frontier is a little weird. So it's possible that they are within the three remaining DLC slots, but also future installments, future DLC slots, if they ever become a thing, which is a little hit or miss. There's nothing really concrete about it.
Now, what the other two DLCs could be for that year, I have no idea. But if Jurassic World Evolution 2 proceeds into 20,
I think they could just drop off there. They could just drop off after the other those two DLCs, and that be it. But again, it falls under make a sequel or the game be abandoned. And I see there being odds of the game being supported thoroughly throughout its life, but right now we only have three remaining slots. That is speculated and or confirmed.
24, then I firmly believe those two things will be added into this game. And of course, with a Cenozoic DLC, would include the woolly mammoth, the Smilodon, and of course the Megalodon. And with the second anniversary of Jurassic World Evolution 2 coming, we could receive a new species for free. Maybe the Tarbosaurus, as I don't really think it would fit into a sort of DLC unless we get an Asia DLC,
Yeah.
which would include the Microceratops and Tarbosaurus. But
And Gigantoraptor. I think Asia again is more likely than the novel, an Asia expansion. Now let's look at the pattern of DLC additions here. Let's just go through and look at the first game first. So you got, of course, Secrets of Doctor Wu, which is hybrid stuff, as well as 2 normal animals. You get Cretaceous, which is time based. Uh, Diet type, Claire's Sanctuary, which is just based on the Sanctuary map. Which, I mean, we haven't even got that yet. We don't even have that in the second game. Another diet, a skin pack, and a location. I'm considering that location. I don't care. That's a location. It's more based on the location of Jurassic Park, not so much of anything. Now let's look at what we currently have. Time period. I guess topic, show, movie. Alright, fuck it, location. Location. Time period, another location. Physical attributes, as well as our upcoming aquatic DLC, which is, I'm going to call it a locomotion DLC. So I don't see it all unlikely for there to be a country or continent specific DLC. Because again, we got locomotion and physical attribute DLCs, as well as locations. So, as well as time periods. So it's very possible we see a Asia DLC in the future.
Let me know your thoughts on these conflicting new developments. And thank you guys so much for 400 subscribers. What do you think about the inclusion of the Dunkleostis and what it means for Jurassic World Evolution 2's future? Please let me know.
I don't think it really means anything. I think it's more of like, okay, well, that's a cool animal, and you don't really see that being represented in many games. So fuck it, let's add it. And I think they're like, Megalodon is cool, but a bit overhyped, a bit overused. I'm going off a hunch. Nothing much to say about that. So, yeah, other than that, though, give this guy a sub, a view. Give him some possible feedback. Who knows? And peace out, guys.